Hello, everyone out there in podcast world. I hope you're having a wonderful day. You're listening to or watching the Service Business Mastery podcast. We're going to talk about the most exciting topic there is to do with your business. And I'll be honest with you, Garrett and I and Josh he was typing. He was doing all of the stuff that he does all the time, making sure that we are organized. We all started our business so that we can do more accounting and crunching numbers. No, I'm kidding. Most of our listeners are HVAC owners, service managers, some technicians who are considering starting their own business, and most of us were technicians. I didn't mean to leave out plumbing, electrical, skilled trades in general. That's what our target audience is. And most of us were not accountants before we purchased a business. Now, there are some, I do actually personally know some accountants who purchased a business because they seen the books and they're like, you're making good money, let me buy your business. But for the most part, it's not the case. We're really, really good service technicians or installation or sales people. And so we are like, you know what, I can do this even better than that crazy guy that's sitting in the office making all those millions and quadrillions of dollars and stuff. So I'm going to start my own business. And then we quickly learned that there's a lot more to it than just being a really, really good technician or a really good salesperson. So Josh, what do you have to add to that?
Well, I mean, to be honest, even so, I actually went to a little background in accounting because I like numbers. But what I really like is data, not necessarily looking at journal entries and stuff like that. So anything that can simplify what is not simple usually is definitely helpful, especially when it comes to record keeping, because we all know the IRS likes to poke around in our businesses whenever you start making a little bit of money. So it's good to have that documentation and have that stuff taken care of.
So really what I hear you saying is that it's not a good idea to have just like your shoebox and just chunk your shoebox of receipts to them and be like, yeah.
Well, I mean, if you want your accountant to be very angry with you, yes, throw all your stuff in a shoebox and be like, here you go, audit time.
Yeah, I'm talking about the IRS agent. We should be like, hey, fancy badge, here's my shoebox.
That's never a good idea to piss them off like that.
Right. Anyways, Josh, share a little bit about Sarah. If you haven't heard us talk about Billy, talk with Billy Stevens with Sarah, you're living under a rock, or either this is your first time listening. And if it is, please click subscribe and leave us a review, because it's going to be an amazing episode. Well, I say leave us a review if it's going to be a 5-star review. If it's not, don't leave a review. But yeah, Josh.
Yeah. So one of our first partners and sponsors of the show was Sarah, who is founded by Billy Stevens, who's a guy he's kind of a legend in his own right in the industry. Mm-hmm. Before technology was doing really well, got his business to, 25% net profit, which was literally unheard of. Got bought out essentially by what is now the Wrench Group. So if anyone's been in the industry long enough, you know who the Wrench Group is. But the only reason he came back into the industry is because there is a gap in the software industry. And what we mean by that is software is making running businesses almost more difficult, because you have this software and that software, and you have all these things that have to try to connect together. And Billy's system really works on the important things, working off of margins, working off of job time efficiency, so that way your team can be efficient, automated dispatching to keep your overhead lower, and a bunch of other things that they got coming out. They literally have stuff rolling out all the time. But we're very happy to have Sarah as a sponsor of the show.
Yeah. Good job. Way to keep it at 30 seconds. No, I'm just kidding. Company Cam is our second partner here. And Company Cam is amazing. It's another technology. We are kind of nerds when it comes to technology. We both do have shiny object syndrome, so we're going to get that out of the way. But we love these products 100%. And one of the great things about Company Cam is the fact that for me and Josh, more so Josh than me, but I really think it's a cool feature, is the fact that it keeps your metadata and it saves it. So whenever it does automatically upload to the carousel on your homepage, the metadata is there. And so Google's like, hey, I love this. That means you do service in this area and you do service in this area. And it's like, this is so simple. I don't have to go in here and do black hat stuff like Josh does. I'm just kidding. Josh does not do anything black hat. He's above board 100%. I'm just kidding. No, it's one of those things where you used to have to work around it and trying your best to figure out what Google's thinking. And it's just another tool to help it out. And sharing photos. One picture is worth 1,000
words
or a million.
I think a video is worth a million.
So we can do 2 photos instead of a blog post, because what a blog post was supposed to be 2,000 words. But anyways, sharing photos like that with clients is amazing. And it really helps spread the message more clearly and help communicate and have a better overall client experience. So Company Cam, you're welcome for the 1 minute instead of a 30-second. Yeah. So yeah, let's get started with the show.
Are you looking for valuable business advice to reach that 7-figure revenue mark? Do you want actionable tips to properly navigate through every business challenge you encounter along the way? Let Tersh Blissett and Josh Crouch be your guide in getting you to the top here at Service Business Mastery. Tune in as they sit down with world-renowned authors in business, leadership, and personal growth who share valuable insights about management, marketing, pricing, human resources, and so much more. Let their nuggets of wisdom gold guide you in owning a thriving, profitable, and ever-growing business. Here are your hosts, Tersh and Josh.
Hey, Garrett, welcome.
Hey, Josh. Hey, Tersh. How are you guys?
Great. So,
Fantastic.
Garrett, you're with oh, sorry. I was just pausing for you. Hopefully by the
clearly
end of this
didn't rehearse that.
No, hopefully by the end of this episode, you will pick up on my dry humor.
Excellent.
It's extremely dry.
I'm in good company then. My wife tells me that dry and borderline boring for me too. So
there you go.
Two peas in the pod. I'm with the Neat Company, guys.
What is the Neat Company?
Yeah, the Neat Company, we help small business owners with financial organization. So as I think you guys mentioned in the intro, nobody started their business to become experts at accounting, although Josh, sounds like you might have a promising path to CPA-ship. And we put together a solution made for business owners specifically. So whether you are a contractor, consultant, a coach, a technician, if you own your own business, and generally speaking, if you're 10 or fewer employees, I think you'll find significant value in Neat's all-in-one approach to getting financially organized.
Perfect. I noticed that you mentioned 10 or less employees is kind of your sweet spot. What makes it different? Like once you hit over that 10 employee mark, is that when you really need to bring in-house people? Is that the reasoning?
That's what we've seen generally at that cutoff point. You need a more sophisticated payroll approach. You've got different types of tax preparation. You would likely benefit from engaging a CPA to help you prepare your IRS filings. But we focus generally on those business owners who want to do it themselves. Mm-hmm. And as we've surveyed, talked to our customers, talked to prospective customers, we were shocked by how many want to have their hand in their finances and understand their business. They don't just want, okay, the reports are just going to thunk onto my desk at the end of the month, end of the quarter, end of the year. They want to have a hand in doing this because there is certainly benefit in understanding the money in and money out, which is what Neat is all about.
Yeah, more money in, less money out.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Oh, hang on a second. Hey, Julie, we gotta fire somebody. We got 11 people, so yeah, I don't want to bring anybody else in the house. No, I'm just kidding. Julie come running in here like, we really got to fire somebody? No, I'm just kidding, Julie. I'm just kidding. No, we get, I don't get it thunked on my desk. I get it thunked in my email, and then it grows spider webs that never gets looked at. No, one of the biggest questions that we get asked, the most common question we get asked, and anytime we say, hey, what do y'all want to hear about? Our numbers, what they mean, above the line, below, like, that's such a common question. Like, what's gross profit versus net profit? And is employee, like field labor, part of, and then office, is that different? And so just a lot of times we get asked questions just in general like that. And a lot of times we're lucky to have Garrett on the show, by the way, because a lot of times whenever I ask my CPA that, I'm like, hey, Will, answer this question for me. And he's like, gives me a lot of legal stuff. And I'm like, okay, Will, please stop. Just stop. Like, you're boring me to death.
Give me the dumbed down version.
Like, you're at level 10. You think you're doing level 2, but you're really doing like a level 9. And I need you to do a level 1 for me. Garrett, tell us kind of what sets the Neat Company apart from just any bookkeeper or anybody else that would be on your team.
Yeah, sure thing. I've been with the Neat Company for just over 2 years, guys, but Neat's been in business for about 20. Many of your listeners may actually remember or even still have one of our Neat Receipts scanners, which was very popular, literally sold millions of these back in kind of the early 2000s. Originally were sold through airport kiosks, and then eventually Neat decided to double down on the software aspects of it. So we eventually were selling a bundled capability to subscribe to our cloud backup service along with the scanner, and we found that software piece of it and the subscription model created a much more sticky relationship with our customers. And so we really doubled down on that. And as Neat continued to grow its subscriber base, eventually solutions emerged along the lines of, let's see, Dropbox, iCloud, Evernote, lots and lots of ways that you could store receipt data. And so we knew we needed to take a next step in our evolution. And that's what led us to create the Neat that you would find today, which is an all-in-one capability for electronic invoicing, electronic payments, and looking at your transactions, getting insights about the cash flow of your business, in addition to all of the traditional strengths that we had in coupling receipts and parsing receipt data. So guys, before I came to Neat, I was a small business owner, and it was a software company, like six people. So I had to wear the finance hat, and I would go in, each month, and it sounds like you, Tersh, I would like literally wait till the end of the month and have my stack of like to-dos. And I was using a digital solution. I would go in and there'd just be this massive pile of transactions to be categorized. I would do it. I'd go through, I'd invoice my customers.
Fingers crossed that there's like matches, and it's like, found the match. Yes. And it's like, and then you get done with it, and it's like, this is all screwed up because you went through and didn't look at anything and you just hit yes. And I was like, well, I guess I probably shouldn't be doing this.
And then I had the next problem, which was, so am I done? Like, is this it? So that lack of confidence that I had led me to, like you guys, hire a CPA. And I would talk to this guy. I said, all right, Doug, am I done? And Doug would go in, he would log into that same account. He would say, yeah, you build your customers. Wait, wow, you've even figured out this deferred revenue thing. Good on you.
Pat on your back.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, I mean, I am a nerd. I mean, I can, write code, but, doing this accounting stuff, I just don't know. Yeah. And as I would finish that up, he said, yeah, you kind of nailed it. Let's, all I'm going to do is reconcile. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, that's a big word.
Tell me about that.
Sounds scary.
Yeah. He says, well, I'm going to take that bank statement that you sent me. I'm going to print it out and I'm going to look at the screen and I'm going to make check marks on the piece of paper and then stick it in a folder. Sound good? I'm like, but excuse me? That's reconciling, eh?
Yeah.
And he said, that's what we do. And I said, what year is it? I mean, you know that, like, you're a smart guy, Doug. Like the pace, the system that printed that statement is the same one that fed those transactions that you're looking at on the screen. I mean, they match.
Right.
How often do they not match? Well, usually never.
But I have to justify my job.
And so when I began to talk to the folks at Neat, as I was starting to consider coming over to the business, and they were describing, look, we're turning this concept of reconciliation on its head. We're designing a solution that is, for business owners, by business owners. We're removing the accounting jargon that creates confusion. And we're
the absolute worst jargon there is credit.
Oh, man.
Credit versus refund versus debit versus I hate my life every time I try to Google it.
It took me forever, even when I was when I thought accounting was going to be my future in my early 20s. I'm like, I still don't understand this.
Right. So Garrett, let me ask you really fast. I'm butt in here real quick. If we're using Neat, a Neat company, are we basically doing away with if we're using QuickBooks Online or whatever the other one is that people use?
Peachtree.
Yeah.
Sage.
Whatever. Are we no longer using those? Or are we still couldn't use those?
If you're generally speaking, if you're filing a Schedule C, you're doing it yourself when it comes to your tax return, you don't have a CPA, Neat will give you everything that you need to prepare your taxes and to along the way see how your business is performing. We see so many of our customers that literally begin managing the finances of their business like by looking at their online banking. Like, oh,
there's money in the account, so we're good.
Wow, look at my balance. It's greater than zero. Amazing.
Yes, we're winning.
And guys, when they go and they connect their accounts into Neat for the first time and they click over to our insights page, we look over our customer's shoulder sometimes and we'll see they go to our insights page and where we have charts of here's all your money in, money out over the last 12 months. Here are the expense categories where you've been spending your money. Here's a look at all your the different cash balances of your accounts. Here's your basic profit and loss. We see this like slow scroll moment where you can tell they're seeing that for the first time ever.
The gears are turning in their head. It might not be putting out a whole lots of steam. But this is definitely making you think for sure.
Exactly. And now see that what happened in April?
Yeah. Like wait a minute, where did all that money go? What did you buy in April? Are you able to quickly, I wouldn't say job cost, but maybe say, hey, you're not charging the correct amount of money because you're losing money. Obviously, if you have more going out than coming in, that's a sign, but sometimes it gets pretty granular. Like, hey, look, we broke apart all of our departments. So we have plumbing service, plumbing installation. Plumbing residential service, plumbing residential installation. Same for commercial plumbing. Same for air HVAC, commercial plumbing maintenance. So we have them all, and so then we're able to not job costs, but profit and loss each division of the business. So then we can say, hey, look, this is a true story. We figured out that our commercial maintenance department was losing us all of the money that the commercial retrofit was making us. And so we had to change. We had to either get rid of commercial maintenance or change the way that we did things there, which we did. And we wouldn't have known that if it was all commercial HVAC, because that's what it was the previous years. And we were like, yeah, we're good. But in reality, we could have been really good had we not lost money in the other department. Is there a long story way around my elbow to get to the other side to try and figure out this question?
The audience is used to it.
They really are. Is there a way for us to know that information through Neat?
Yes, absolutely. So
good job. We're done.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
And I'm done. The setting up your categorization is one of the key things at the beginning of working with Neat. And this is where we're a bit different than some of our competitors out there. We're weird. We answer the phone if you call us.
What?
Get out of here.
I know. I said
an email, and 2 weeks later you might respond to it.
Exactly, with a follow-up question like, "Oh, that was helpful."
Right.
No, so we answer the phone. We have consultative sessions with our customers, because getting those categorizations set up so that you can see exactly what you saw, Tersh, straight away is super important. So having the categorization set up out of the gate is critical. It paints that picture for you right away. And then it becomes very easy from there to do that kind of drill down that you were talking about. So you run one of our financial reports and you're like, wait, what is that, in that commercial line? And it's the cost of goods sold. What is that number? We'll actually have a link on that number for you to double click, single click, and look at all of the individual transactions that make up that number. And that insight right there alone either helps our customer to understand, or like, oh, wait a minute, no, this belongs in that other part of the business. Oops, let's clean that up and fix that. And then once you're all done with that, we've put together a unique process. I was talking about this lack of confidence that I had earlier, and this nuts approach to reconciliation traditionally. We've actually created something we call the monthly review. And the monthly review is exactly what it sounds like. You step through your transactions and do two things. You're doing the categorization, but then you're also saying, yup, this one's correct. And at the same time, we're using our traditional strength at Neat of matching receipts or matching invoices to transactions, so that you have those financial documents, the source documents behind those transactions, fully married up, so that you don't have to show up with a shoebox either to your CPA or to, God forbid, the IRS. It's the shoebox becomes completely digital and completely organized. And most of that is done automatically with our AI approach to matching receipt data to transactions.
So tell us about that, the whole receipt capture thing. And I won't mention what we do. We talked about it off air, and we're not going to go there. But I felt like, hey, look, we're kind of above we're ahead of things for the size company we were. Everybody collects the receipts. It gets uploaded into an app. That app transcribes the data. It's a learned process. It wasn't perfect to start with, but then the AI learned it, and then it sent it over to QuickBooks, because we use QuickBooks Online. That was pretty good. I mean, it was much better than trying to store receipts in Dropbox or not. I wouldn't even go Evernote, because that's way over a lot of people's head. Because that stuff just gets, the picture's horrible, or it's half cut off, you know what I mean? And so tell us how you solve that issue. And it's also an accountability thing too, as far as like technicians going to pick up a part or whatnot, and not really being the part that they're supposed to be getting because they're getting it for their mom's house or something like that. So it has an accountability aspect to it as well.
right on. And let's not even talk about when people handwrite something on the receipt, and it becomes nearly impossible. But anyway, Neat has been scanning receipts for years and years and years. So our AI is extremely well trained because of that. I think we're sitting on top of 2 or 3 petabytes of data, to nerd out with
petabyte. That's a lot.
Massive amount of data. Yeah.
Hang on, let me Google that real fast.
Yeah, I don't even know if I've ever heard that before.
I'm just kidding.
And the bulk of that is receipts that, of course, have line items on them that need to be reviewed, extracted, et cetera. So we have been building on top of our parsing and OCR and matching capabilities literally for years to solve just this problem. But we have a lot of mechanisms to help our customers get the data in, to empty the shoebox, if you will. So whether we have plenty of customers that still have a need scanner or any kind of scanner. When we got out of the hardware business, we said all scanners are welcome.
Oh, that's cool. So you can get like a Brother scanner or anything.
Brother.
Can you take a picture of it with your phone?
Raven, any scanner that you've got. And then, the most popular way to capture receipts now is through the Neat mobile app. So we see customers primarily using that, and we'll do it's addressing a lot of the challenges you had, Tersh, like getting the lighting correct, getting it cropped properly, and making sure that the data that comes in, you can quickly add additional metadata to the receipt itself at the time of capture. So we make it super simple.
Let me ask you something really quick on the receipts. Once it's scanned, I guess it's 2 questions. Once it's scanned, are we responsible for keeping that receipt, or is that receipt good enough for if we get audited? And how long do we need to keep that receipt, even if it's a digital version of it? And how long do you keep it for the IRS purposes?
We recommend keeping it, and I'm biting my tongue here because I'm a very paperless person, generally speaking. But I think even the IRS recommends as best practice to keep 7 years worth of receipts. But you can see, they've been with rules changes over the years, becoming a bit more lenient. So, T&E travel and entertainment expenses, so $75 cutoff to have an associated paper receipt. So,
are you saying that we still need to keep the paper receipt even after we've scanned it and given it to you?
I would. It's a best practice.
Oh, crap. Hang on, let me write this down.
Many of our customers don't do it. Many of our customers throw right in the trash.
Okay.
It will hold up in an IRS audit. So the digital version is good enough there, but just again, it's a quote unquote best practice. So you keep the receipt.
Right. Yeah. And so it's been a debated topic. I've asked other people as well. I've asked my CPA, and sometimes they say, like, a American Express statement, they're like, that's good, versus keeping every single receipt on your American Express. I don't know. That's a
tricky one. That's a tricky one, because you could see that, Costco, Home Depot level transaction where your American Express statement will have the merchant, but what did you buy?
And Amazon,
classic one.
That's a dark hole right there.
Exactly. So, all right, $320, but wait.
On horse feed, you do horses? Yeah, we had to get it for a customer.
Exactly. Amazon receipts are an interesting one, because they for a time would put the details of your receipt in the body of their email at the time, but they don't do that anymore.
It's just a link that you have to go log into your account and blah blah blah.
Exactly. So they've created much more work for business owners as a result of that. But that's why we try to make it much easier. So, another way to capture receipts in Neat is the dedicated neatcloud.com email address that we give to every one of our subscribers.
I was going to ask about, so like, because when we have supplier invoices and stuff like that, it would come to email, and I'm like, okay, now we got to get these over to QuickBooks, and it's just kind of like it's extra work. Not that it doesn't, it obviously needs to be done, but how do you? So this is your solution. So instead of doing that, have that like CC'd on these emails, or just have it go directly there, or what's the solution?
Our customers do it in a number of different ways. So they will either set up their Neat as a Neat address as a CC, as the if that provider offers multiple billing contacts, and you want a copy and you want that a copy, or if you're using Gmail or Outlook, set up a rule to forward it upon arrival to your Neat Cloud email address. We've seen multiple ways that gets done, but that dedicated email address, you immediately will get a response back from our service saying, "Yep, this was successfully updated. Here's your image of the receipt." Or if we had an issue, we'll let you know that, hey, we went ahead and sent this to our human verification. So this is another big deal.
Oh, that's cool
for us. So we actually have a service we've had for a number of years called Neat Verify. And it will kick out a document for a human review if our AI was stuck on some piece. And I'll tell you guys, a huge number of them have some giant scribble that's on it, which is usually the name of the person that you took to coffee or dinner or what have you. And
no, I don't ever do that allegedly on purpose.
Exactly. Because sometimes the IRS wants to know who did you go out with, and so scribbling that name is the best methodology. And we are oftentimes able to extract that data and include it in the metadata that gets produced with the receipt, but sometimes not.
Let me ask a question. Say that I'm listening to this episode and I have just started my business, or I'm getting ready to start my business, or I've been in business a couple of years, but I've never grown past 1 or 2 trucks, maybe 3 trucks. What's the process? I guess there's a couple of questions that I'm going to ask here. What's the process of onboarding, and do we have someone that's a dedicated person that's going to say, hey, look, not necessarily your CPA, but somebody who's educated on enough of a level to say, we recommend do this versus that. Obviously, we're not a legal service, so you need to contact a CPA or whatnot, tax lawyer or whatever. And then say someone already has a CRM that they're using within HVAC industry. There's a slew of them, and they're very popular to talk about, and people get on them really early in their business life. Is there an integration with these different CRMs with Neat?
Yeah, good question. So as customers come in and sign up, there's we want to do as much as we possibly can for that customer to self-serve. But we are here, as I was describing earlier, if you want to be step through the process of making sure you're set up for success, we again will answer the phone either when you call in, or you can set up an appointment with us to talk at a time that's convenient for you. And when the setup process happens, one of the first things we'll see is, oh, okay, well, I'd really love to be able to send digital invoices. I've been, attaching Word documents to emails and waiting for paper checks to show up for a really long time. I've heard I
get in the mail.
I could get paid a lot faster if I do this, and I can choose to allow credit card payments, which my customers may love, but how willing am I to fund their reward points?
Can you guys scan checks in the field?
We don't do that right now, but it is something that we're looking at and thinking about, in addition to kind of that remote card reading capability as well. But for now, issuing an invoice to your customer in real time is super simple through our mobile app. But what we find is somebody who is looking to really digitize their business and comes to us, well, I've got a customer list. It's kind of sitting here in my CRM, and I'd love to feed it into Neat so that I can have basically a push button invoicing capability. Can you help me get started? And we'll do that. So we will literally take a phone call with you, step through everything to get connected. We have a number of CRMs that we're already connected into, but oftentimes when it comes to specialized industry CRMs, that may not be on our list, but we have dedicated, and I've made sure that our head of customer success has people dedicated to setting up for success, bringing in data to get our customers started. We'll continue to add and integrate additional CRMs over time, so that you can just enter customer information in one place and sync it over into. But for now, we'll get you set up with that initial set of customers, and then make it super easy to add additional customers over time, and get you set up for electronic payments.
So if you're not connected already, make sure I'm getting this correct. If you're not connected and you don't have a webhook way of grabbing information, if we do add someone to the CRM, we're going to have to manually put them into Neat as well.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just confirming that.
So
Confirming it.
But it's literally put in their name, put in their email address.
Okay.
You're good to go. So I have a question later on, because we talked about like where you guys, like your niche audience is. So what is that? Let's say somebody's been on Neat for 2 years. Now they've gotten to the point where they've really grown their business and they need to get that additional help. What is because we all know changing what we're doing, both from a CRM standpoint or any technology you're using, and moving that data to another place is a total pain in the ass. What does that look like for you guys that you get to a certain point and maybe they need to move to like a Peachtree or Sage or QuickBooks because they need to hire a CPA or whatever the case is? How does that transition work, and is it seamless? I guess that would be a question I would have for somebody that gets to that point.
Yeah, so it's a great question. So in this, in the overall digital accounting world, guys, QuickBooks is they're not the 800-pound gorilla, they're the 8,000-pound gorilla.
Yeah, right.
Their moat has been their network of CPAs and bookkeepers that they've established for years.
Oh yeah, most of the CPAs they're like, oh, you don't use QuickBooks? Nah, you got to go use somebody else as CPA.
That conversation happens a ton.
I bet.
And we're not sitting here saying, well, we're going to out QuickBooks.
Right.
No, we want our customers to use Neat to do everything that they can to prepare for their CPA, who is likely using QuickBooks to manage their entire practice and all of their other customers, to be able to have that handover. So we at Neat, we've been integrated to QuickBooks for years, and have many thousands of our customers that take advantage of feeding that data into QuickBooks because their CPA has asked them to do that, and so we fully embrace that. So we see our customers, the business owner, being very focused on, let me set myself up, categorize everything, do that monthly review process. Feel like I'm getting the insights that I need on my cash flow in Neat, get very used to doing that, using our mobile app on the go, and taking advantage of all the simplicity and user interface advantages that we have that speak to business owners. But yeah, when it comes to time to do that tax prep and you want to do the big handoff to the accountant of instead of showing up with the shoebox of receipts, it's literally push button to transfer the data into your accountant's instance of QuickBooks, and the accountant is happy. Our customers are happy because they get to continue to use Neat in the rhythm that they've gotten used to, especially after using the service for a couple of years. And that's what we see. I mean,
hang on. I'm sorry. I completely missed what you said 5 minutes ago. So let's circle back to this. I was under the impression that you were going to offboard people from Neat to QuickBooks, but what you're saying is they're going to continue to use Neat, but the data is going to transfer into QuickBooks.
That's correct.
Oh,
Exactly.
dang, that's cool. Okay.
As we were talking about at the start of the conversation, when you really start to grow your business, get that kind of 10 employees, you've got more sophisticated accounting needs. That's when you may grow out of Neat. But if you are still that smaller business that's emerging, and you're kind of just getting going, and accounting's just not your bag, start with Neat.
So do you ever have anybody who has been on QuickBooks or QuickBooks Online and they want to come over to Neat, and like, can you reverse that communication from QuickBooks to Neat?
We do. I mean, this happens a lot, because what they'll find is somebody will be on QuickBooks and not realize that somehow they got upsold or whatever.
Yeah, you're paying like $300 a month, and it's
like, how much is this again? Like, oh, and wait, I'm paying these payment fees on top of this as well. So we definitely see people who come to us both because of where our price is, and then also just QuickBooks is often just too much for many business owners.
Oh, it's an 8,000-pound gorilla is what it is. You look at it, and then the next thing you know, they're saying debits and credits, and you're like, okay, I don't know
exactly. Oh, so wait, I need to do journal entries for this and that and the other thing. What, why? What is that?
Exactly. So you mentioned pricing. How is that set up? Is it depending on the amount of users you have, or what?
Yeah, so simple subscription fee. We're also a bit weird that we don't charge for added users. We don't charge for multiple businesses or lines of business, as we were talking about earlier. So we keep it super, super simple to come in and use our service. And we're right around that kind of $24 a month price point for our customers. And
wait a minute, now that includes the transcribing the receipts and all of
it, the human verification piece when you need that, our dedicated service team who's there that's going to answer the phone.
So if I pay $24 a month, I get Garrett's cell phone number. And
I talk to a lot of our customers, guys, and yes, if you want to reach out and set up an appointment with me, I'll take it, and I'll do my best to talk you through it. But believe me, the folks that answer our phone calls have set up many more successful Neat accounts than I have.
That seems like a lot of value for a very low price, especially the review, the monthly review. I know we're coming up towards our end of our time, but that monthly review, is that, I mean, okay, so if I'm paying $24 a month, I'm not expecting someone to get on a phone call with me and go over my financials. Is this just an email that's sent to us and we say, okay, we have to review this email? Is that, I mean, I'm assuming that's what it is.
It's built into our application, both whether you're coming to our desktop web application or you're in the mobile app. And it is just essentially a workflow that steps you through all of your transactions and the matching receipts, gives you that final opportunity to say, yup, looks good, that's in the right place, and ready to be marked as reviewed. Step through those, and we've seen customers who will do that as the month goes along.
So not wait until the end of the month.
You don't have the big pile at month end. And
I love that pile. I like the stress. I mean, if I can add more stress to the business, I'd just do it.
And what that does is, as you go, you essentially are getting near real-time feedback on the performance of your business. So you've kind of gotten through the monthly review. Great, I'm caught up for the week, or maybe I'm halfway through the week. You click over to our insights and you're seeing trends. All of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, what happened? This month to date so far, I'm like down compared to where I would be at this point in the month last month. What the heck's going on here? And
Does it give you any sort of insight as to why you're not reading what you're thinking you should be reading?
That's it's actually something we are going to be adding later this year, is things like being able to compare yourselves to other business owners in your industry, and things exactly like that. Yeah.
That'd be interesting, just because a lot of times people don't know. They're like, well, I'm at 5% net. That must be good, right? I have money in the bank.
Right. Yeah.
And then they see their industry average is either higher or lower, which obviously, 5%, it's okay. It's still probably above industry average, sadly.
3% is industry average.
Yeah. But it's good to know those barometers that we have a goal.
I'm still working my way up. I need to bump
You're
up
at
to
2,
3.
right?
No, I need to bump up 3% to get to industry average. So, no,
at least you didn't say you didn't have to bump up 5%.
Well, probably really do. I have to bump up 5%. No, I'm kidding. It's one of those things, like you have a rule of thumb, and I wish whoever came up with that, I'm gonna chop my thumbs off.
Right.
It's one of those things where, what do I need to be like? What net profit do I need to be at better than what you were last month? That's the number that you want to be at. But if there's a way to help, not necessarily tell you like, hey, technician number 5 is a horrible salesperson, you need to get rid of them, but more so like, hey, look, your cost of goods sold are way too high. Your percentage of cost of goods sold is way too high. Maybe your supply house went up on prices and didn't tell anybody, and your technicians are still buying everything and not looking at how much it costs. And
that's exactly right. We've had customers who have said, oh my gosh, Neat has saved me thousands of dollars in billing errors that I get from my vendors just by stepping through this monthly review process. And I'm like, man, you must be processing a ton of invoices. They're like, well, yeah, that's the nature of my business.
Is there a limit on those invoices?
Absolutely not. No limit to how many transactions get fed into our system, how many invoices you produce, none whatsoever. We wanted to make it a simple, all-in-one product, all-in-one subscription, and remove all the limits we can. So I don't care how many receipts you want to upload into our system.
Don't challenge me.
Yeah, do it. Do it. Switch over from
I just can't wait.
Other guys' church, and we'll
honestly, I cannot wait to give my CPA a box of blank receipts, and at the bottom of it, it says, just kidding. Here, go to this website.
Yeah. And that's the best part of my job, guys. Neat.com is where you go to find a lot more information.
Josh, you got anything?
No, this was great. I didn't know a solution like this existed. When I started my business, I'm like, well, QuickBooks, that's what I got to, start with that. And honestly, I don't use it for outside of looking at my P&L that my accountant does. I don't look at it for like anything.
Literally, Josh and I, well, not Josh, I went through and created our QuickBooks a couple months ago, and I'm like, this is such a royal pain just to have a couple receipts a month, 3 receipts a month. And it was like, I guess we just got to use QuickBooks because that's what you use QuickBooks. So
exactly. And you're like, which of these 18 items on the nav should I begin with?
Right. I actually had my wife in here, and she's looking over my shoulder. I'm like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing for this? And she's like, no, you're way off. I'm like, oh, good. Glad you're here then.
Exactly.
Garrett, man, we really appreciate it. And Nick, who connected us, we really appreciate the connection. And Josh, you don't have anything else?
No, I think we covered from some soup to nuts there, looking kind of what you would expect and their target audience, how it works. I think there's a lot of new businesses or businesses that are young or maybe just haven't grown as much that could really take some burden off of having to do some of this stuff and get maybe some better financial insights month over month, so that way they can focus on the things that are like actually selling and getting more leads and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Most of our customers, guys, start from spreadsheets, and we are the next step from spreadsheets. Okay. And much to their relief.
Cool, Garrett. Well, we really appreciate it. If you have any questions, neat.com, and or you can reach out to me, but I'm just going to send you to Garrett. So We really appreciate everything. If you're listening to this, remember, if you don't already subscribe, leave us a review, a 5-star only. That's kind of what we want is 5s. But I'm all joking aside. If you have any questions about anything, would like to hear more about a particular topic, please reach out to us. Podcast at servicebusiness.com, servicebusinessmastery.com. If you can shoot us an email there, or you can just tag us on Facebook. We're everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all that good jazz. But I hope you have a wonderful and safe week until we talk again next time. Be good. We'll see you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Service Business Mastery. Now that you are equipped with essential business advice from this impactful conversation, you are one step closer to becoming the successful owner of your dreams. If this episode has been helpful to your business journey, don't forget to subscribe to the show, leave a rating, and share it with other owners as well. Visit servicebusinessmastery.com to learn more.